Well, welcome to the 700 Club. After almost a year of war, Hamas has been devastated. The IDF has taken out most of the terror group's weapons and at least half of its fighters. That's according to a document from a top Hamas leader.
This news comes as Israelis joined Americans in remembering 9/11 and the dangers both countries face from radical Islam. Chris Mitchell has the story from Jerusalem.
Speaking from an IDF intelligence base, Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant shared a document from a top Hamas commander, written in May before he was killed in an airstrike in July. The letter to Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar and his brother reveals the severity of the losses the IDF has inflicted on Hamas. That commander, Rafa'a Salameh, seen on the right in this photo, wrote, "We have lost at least 50% of our fighters. As for weapons," he wrote, "we have lost 90 to 95% of our rocket capabilities, and we have lost some 60% of our personal weapons." Yoav Gallant stated the net result is that Hamas as a military formation no longer exists. The defense minister also spoke of a particularly disturbing photo the IDF found in Gaza.
I would like to show you what we find recently in tunnels in Khan Yunis. That's a picture. These are the kids of Muhammad Sinwar posing against the evil event of September 11. This picture shows what we have been fighting since October 7. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Hamas, they are all the same.
The Israeli military is still hunting down Hamas terrorists one by one. And with Hamas so beaten down in Gaza, media reports suggest it's ready to accept an immediate ceasefire based on President Biden's plan from July, but only if there are no new conditions from any side. At Israel's 9/11 memorial on Wednesday, Israelis and Americans came together to remember the fateful day 23 years ago. It's the only memorial outside the United States with all the names of the nearly 3,000 who died then.
Particularly emotional after what the world experienced on October 7th. On September 11th, 2001, I was 3 months pregnant with this baby right here.
Jewish commentator Hillel Fuld sees a profound connection between 9/11 and October 7th and the bond between Israel and America.
And unfortunately, that bond has only become stronger over the past 11 months when we experienced our own 9/11. And on the one hand, you feel like this day is so special, maybe we should just not make that comparison, but you can't not make that comparison, primarily because it's the same people who perpetrated it, and it's the global plague of radical Islam.
Fuld says this threat is worldwide.
The global community has to wake up and understand that it's the same people who did what they did back then are the same people who did October 7th here in Israel.
And the forces of good have to put an end to terror. It's enough. How many more of these ceremonies do we need to go? We have 365 days a year. Now 2 of them are marked by September 11th, October 7th. Let's make sure that no other days go into be marking terror.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Let us vow never again. And here we are approaching the eve of the memorial for those who died on October 7th. And let's keep in mind, there's a radical difference in worldview. I remember 9/11. I remember on the streets of Ramallah, on the streets of Gaza, there was celebration. There was handing out candy because of what had happened in New York City. They rejoiced over the destruction. And in the face of that, we have an administration that somehow wants to continue funding that and say, we need to have some kind of two-state solution. We need to reward the attacks that have happened. It makes no sense to me. Here's a clear division. UNRWA was defunded in the last administration. In the very first week of the current administration, that funding was restored. It's been proven UNRWA participated, employees paid by UNRWA participated in the October 7th attack. It's been proven that their buildings in Gaza were used as command centers for Hamas. that there were terror tunnels underneath entrances and exits from those tunnels, all within UNRWA buildings, all paid for by American taxpayers. It's high time to stop that and say no more. On our watch, you don't get to have humanitarian aid go into building terror networks and terror armies, and this should never happen. We're in the final stages of this in Gaza. Let us remain firm and strong that Hamas has no right to exist, that they need to unconditionally surrender. The hostages all need to be returned. We need to insist on it because that is the right thing to do.